The big breaking story from the Washington Post. Trump hails framework of Greenland deal reversing tariff threats. Following this, the stock market jumped up, surging the Dow surging 550 points, the S&P 500, NASDAQ jumping as Trump backs off the tariff threats. NATO seems to be pretty dang happy. NATO said in a statement, negotiations between Denmark, Greenland, and the United States will go forward aimed at ensuring that Russia and China never gain a foothold economically or militarily in Greenland. Rutt told Fox News special report with Brett Baer Wednesday that Danish sovereignty of the territory wasn't talked about in the meetings with Trump. We basically discussed how we can implement the president's vision on protecting, yes, Greenland, but of course this, not only Greenland, this whole Arctic. Now, here's the framework of the deal. The breaking details, we believe these to be the details. The U.S. will gain control over small pockets of land in Greenland. The U.S. will be involved in Greenland's mineral rights. Greenland is estimated to hold reserves worth as much as $5 trillion. The U.S. Golden Dome system will be involved in Greenland when it's built. The deal is designed to block Russian and Chinese influence in Greenland. This will open the door to U.S.-backed infrastructure investment. The duration of the deal will have an indefinite time frame. This means Trump will have secured land, minerals, and defense in one deal, effectively getting everything they wanted, and that Greenland and Denmark can say we won as well, maintaining their sovereignty, but the U.S. is going to basically do what they did before. So this looks like a classic Donald Trump big ask, where he threatens to punch you in the face, but then you agree to just hug.
I have to say, Donald, this is directly to you.
It is Cove Pure. Man, good, clean water. That's what I'm talking about. It's the new year, my friends. You got to get healthy. Holidays are brutal, desserts, late night skipped workouts. But now that we're in the new year, it's time to reset. Let's get a New Year's resolution going, one that actually works and gives your body what it needs. It's a perfect time for Cove Pure. Here's the thing. Everyone jumps in the new year buying new supplements, trying new diet or workouts, but they completely ignore the most important basic thing, water. Even mild dehydration impacts energy, focus, and metabolism. And one thing I found is that when I'm feeling sluggish, I'm wondering, like, did I not get vitamins? It's literally just water. It's usually water. I'll drink a cup of water and then I feel great. Cove Pure changes this. When you think about all the garbage in the water, you're starting behind the curve before you even begin. Cove Pure changes that. Their Clear Wave technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants. Pretty much anything that isn't water, PFAs, microplastics, pharmaceutical residue, fluoride, all gets removed. It's the purest water you can get. Let you choose a temperature of your water, hot, cold, or warm. It has size presets, making it easy to remember to drink enough water. It makes your water taste so good. Easy setup, no installation needed, perfect for renters, and it looks super sleek and nice. Cove Pure makes it easy to get pure water with the push of a button. So this year, make a New Year's resolution that sticks. Improve your health with clean water. Right now, you can get $200 off for a limited time if you use my link, covepure.com/Tim. That's COVEPURE.com/Tim to start the new year right. We got one of these things. They're really awesome.
Dude,
I'm a big fan.
You got me. I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. Last night, He cried. He was crying. It was the end for me. I was like, you've gone too far. I cannot support you anymore. And then you turned and did this. So nice job.
Over Greenland?
Yeah. I was like, he's going to get us in. He's threatening Europe. And if Europe turns on us, which they were talking about doing, sending troops to Greenland plus, then the Russians and the Chinese would also, the vultures would start to circle. So thank you, Donald, for being such a harsh, strong businessman in these desperate times and turning this deal.
You're not a plan truster, and you are clearly a panicking.
It's amazing that no matter how many times Trump uses this exact strategy, the same strategy he literally wrote a book about, that people just continuously do this. He anchors the position, he makes the big ask, he goes out there and makes sure that you are looking well beyond what he's actually looking for, and then he dials it back, he lets everybody be a winner, everybody can relax. He's done this over and over again, and that's why we always say, you got to watch not just what Trump says, but what he's doing, what he's actually planning, where he's actually setting himself. If you run out there and take every single thing he says seriously, then you're just falling for the exact strategy he's already laid out. You're being played just like the media. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything Trump says, doesn't mean he gets free pass on everything, but people really do have to calm down with the whole rhetorical stuff. We've seen this so many times over and over again, and people just end up embarrassing themselves when they take every bit of it seriously.
That's my favorite part, when they embarrass themselves.
Right. Well, it works for Trump too, right?
You know? And to be fair, with this go around, with the tariffs being threatened, with Trump like not refusing to admit that he could potentially go to war over this, a lot of plan trusters, a lot of our top guys were getting a little antsy. They were saying, I like the deal, I like the strategy, but do we really need to apply this much pressure to Europe? These sorts of things. It's antagonizing, like even like right-wing parties in Europe. So shout out to the poster Homan's top guy. He was a plan trust the entire time. And anytime some of our guys were starting to be like, I don't know, Donald, like, can we take the heat off a little bit? He'd be in the replies and just let him have it. So this, I think, to be honest, this was like the ultimate plan trusting test. Because like I said, a lot of the top plan trusters were even getting a little bit cold feet over this.
This is, I don't know. I want to just be gracious, for this deal looking like it's going through, but it makes me nervous about like who's coming next, who's the next president, because this guy is holding it together with like willpower. Donald Trump is like, people are terrified of him and they love him and they're like scared of him and they're like geopolitically he's a mastermind. I mean, I know people are studying him. Vance is studying him, but it's like you can't just become Donald Trump. I don't know.
Look, if Democrats do, win and take control of like the House, the Senate, and the executive office, like that's going to be the undoing of basically everything good that Donald Trump's done. They'll undo things that are good, just the same way that Joe Biden opened the borders totally because of Donald Trump doing what he did about the illegal immigration and stuff. They're going to undo even good things just to spite Donald Trump. So that's another reason why it's incredibly important that people go and vote in the midterms and go and vote for whoever isn't the Democrat. As much as people are out there that are like, oh, I'm sick and tired of voting for the lesser of two evils. I don't care what you're tired of.
Well, I mean, I'm black-pilled. After this redistricting thing, I don't think voting matters at all. I mean, it barely did to begin with, but we did believe. Now, Democrats and Republicans have basically been like, let's utilize the power we have to wipe out our opposition in our states, except Indiana that went, oh, slow down there, Trump.
Well, that's my larger concern, Tim. You see him consolidating places like Venezuela. You see him consolidating places like Greenland. We understand that we need a sphere of influence, but ultimately this is the empire, right? Like, this is strengthening the empire. Now, if the empire is being run by patriots, if it's being run for the advantages of the American people, that's fantastic. But the problem is if the Democrats get back to power and they have all the power that Trump has secured for the United States, but he hasn't secured it domestically, then you end up a scenario where the left now has a stronger global American empire, but they're running it for their own interests. They're running it for the globalists. They don't care about Americans. They're making sure to purge Americans, replace Americans. And so that's why I would prefer that while I love what the Trump administration is doing in certain areas when it comes to securing our interests, if you don't secure the homeland, if you don't secure the voting, if you don't do that, then it doesn't matter because you're just turning all that stuff over to the Democrats. And if they don't get rid of it, like Phil said, they'll just use it to hurt us.
Yeah, well, I made the point on the show last night. I think I was using your talking point, which is objectively true, is that it's no longer, these elections are no longer about, swinging over independent voters and these sorts of things to a degree that's still important, but it really is just a census at the end of the day. And when you look at, again, like these redistricting plays, when you look at, again, the immigration that took place under Biden, like fundamentally what these elections are just coming down to is what is the actual makeup of that district, and then it just takes a snapshot of it. That's all that's really occurring these days.
It seems like that should be illegal at the federal level for a state to do that, because that gives that state untoward influence over national elections. So then the Supreme Court has to say, like, hey, you can't just all of a sudden say our state is all Democratic voters because we redistricted everything. That's crazy.
But the Constitution's very clear that that is the power that the states retain. And so that's the problem, is it was designed that way. You were supposed to be able to throw a spanner in the works. But when you, like you say, when that no longer becomes an issue of good faith, when people are actively and maliciously using the legal system to skew those politics, all of a sudden that federalism is a problem. Same thing when it comes down to states' rights, when you're removing immigration, right? Like ultimately, yes, you should have federalism. They should have control over their law enforcement. But when they're actively choosing to allow violence in their state, when they're targeting Republicans, targeting conservatives, targeting churches, and they're just allowing violence to happen, can you really allow them to continue to operate? And this is the problem. No law will actually bind bad actors. No. Laws are only for people who are living and working together in a society together. The minute you have people maliciously working to undermine that trust, you can write all the laws you want, and they're never going to matter. It's never rule of law. It's always rule of people.
Yeah.
Do you think that the redistricting is just a lost cause? Have you given up on the voting stature of the
states?
I am not a fan of democracy. So to the extent that I think we have to continue to fight that because it is the way that we legitimize our rulers today. We have to fight for every inch and every advantage inside that system. But I think democracy is largely dead. I don't think we're going to get an actual mandate from the people anymore. I think it's all about pushing and pulling numbers, manipulating zones, controlling machine voting. But the idea that we're going to have some Mr. Smith goes to Washington nationwide debate on issues anymore is a joke. I mean, look at Congress. It can't even pass a bill.
You're a smart guy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I completely agree. We've been heading in this direction, and I feel like it's it was an obvious inevitability. We've talked about this a year ago, the geographic hyperpolarization, which was COVID, right? People in New York moved to Florida. We were in West Virginia 2 months ago. I mean, technically, we're still operating in West Virginia. We're here in Florida trying to work out our future plans because of the threats. The interesting thing is, despite the fact that we were in West Virginia, which is very based, you border Maryland and Virginia has gone totally psycho. I mean, what Spanberger's done, the socialists, the left, the commies are throwing their hats in the air, screaming and cheering. It's not even an exaggeration. She's erased 4 years, as Tate said, of Youngkin in 48 hours. We're up there in West Virginia, but bordering this, it's contentious. I have weird beefs over like a skate park thing that was not real, and then I go like a DC, and then there's some people who are like posting things saying Tim Pool's a racist at a skate park or whatever. Come to Florida, and everybody's cheering for us because of the geographic hyperpolarization. What did I say was going to happen with New York and these other jurisdictions? When people leave New York, it's going to weaken the conservative voter base, meaning the politicians, the Democrats, no longer have to try to earn at least some of the conservative vote and be a little moderate. That means when the primary comes around, the psycho commie is going to run against the moderate, and the psycho commie is like, I don't got to pander to anybody. The conservatives are gone. This vote is only going to come down to the far left and the centrist Democrat, the liberal Democrat. And so they're starting to win. And then where we're at now with the redistricting war was obvious. With people in California, conservative leaning, moving to Texas and Washington to Arizona and New York to Florida, the ability to push back is gone. And the Democrats in the state say, we can now shut their voices out completely. The fascinating thing going on, a couple stories we got to go through. New York is eliminating their 11th district seat. They're calling it unconstitutional. It's going to redraw it, eliminating a Republican. Maryland did the same thing. Mike Cernovich had a great tweet. He said Maryland cut a deal with Republicans saying, you don't redistrict in your area, we won't redistrict here. And then when I think it was Indiana, when Indiana's like, okay, fine, we won't do it, Maryland goes, psych, we're doing it, let's go. And now they're eliminating the last Republican seat. You can actually to me, it's 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, what happens when the midterm election is no longer having any toss-ups at all? It's literally just 220 Democrats, and then the rest Republicans had solid blue, solid red. There's no elections anymore. It's literally just a Democrat state will always be Democrat. It's happening at the federal level, the national level, what happened to our cities. The Democrats have controlled Chicago for over 100 years, and there's zero chance a Republican will ever get elected there. And now it's happening at the state level, and it's coming to Congress. And then what do you think the next course of action will be in this country? Because when there's nowhere left to go, the pressure builds up and the kettle explodes.
I think the great sort has to happen. I think it was inevitable. The idea that we could live...
The great sort?
The great sort.
Yeah.
And the sorting of the different beliefs. We used to believe you could just live anywhere in the United States, and we shared enough values, enough social fabric, you'd be fine. And so people moved to all these places for education and business and these kind of things. But what they found is they were living next to a bunch of people who didn't share their religion, didn't share their beliefs, didn't share their values, and we were constantly in a state of war. Now everybody's going back to the places where they can be around people that they actually agree with, actually believe in, can have real communities. And I think that's actually a positive. One of the upsides of remote work is you can actually live around people and not have to worry about your job being right down the street. You can just live around people you actually care about. So we're seeing more intentional communities. We're seeing people moving together, moving to places where they actually agree. Florida, remember, was a purple state trending blue for most of my life, because when people came from New York and New Jersey, they came down here to retire and they used their pension. Now the people coming here, they're fleeing COVID. They want to be with Ron DeSantis. They're Republicans.
What was the DeSantis win margin?
I don't remember, but it was quite large the second time.
That dude who was caught, what was he like, doing meth or something?
Yeah, got caught doing meth with a gay prostitute. Yeah.
And he was like, didn't he have like foam at the mouth? Or it's like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
He almost won. And then DeSantis narrowly wins. And immediately, you know, I want to say thank you to DeSantis for fixing this state and making it what it is. Not just him, the state legislature did a great job as well. It's a shame about his presidential run. Not very good, but Florida's fantastic.
So in 2018, DeSantis' win margin was 0.4% over Andrew Gillum. But in 2022, it was a nearly 20% win over Charlie
Because everybody
Crist.
came here.
Well, and
AOC came
Yeah.
here to vacation because she didn't like her own state's COVID lockdown stuff.
Well, and really importantly, DeSantis cleaned up the voter rolls.
Yeah.
This is something that people did not do. This is something guys like Glenn Youngkin didn't do. When DeSantis got into power, he made sure to use that power to secure power in in Florida for the Republicans moving forward. You have to take control of those votes.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.